This is the 30 Days to Sell Cars podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about automotive conquest sales, or in other words, selling vehicles to people who are not yet your customers, who are not in your database, and who have not yet experienced your awesome sales or service department. You're not going to want to miss this show. Hi, my name is Sean Cassy, and I'm happy that you're joining us today for this shiny brand new episode of our podcast, 30 Days to Sell Cars. In this episode, we're going to talk about automotive conquest sales. I know that some dealers often associate conquests with direct mail, which is one method of conquesting, but for the sake of today's conversation, I won't be using the word conquest as a direct mail strategy, but rather to identify the target we're after, which are new customers. Now, when talking about successful conquesting or selling to people outside of your database, there are two target audiences that have some potential for immediate sales, and these two audiences are at opposite ends of the shopping cycle. The first one is comprised of people who are not yet in the market for a vehicle, and the second one is comprised of people who are just about to purchase a vehicle but who are not yet considering your brand or models. Notice that I have voluntarily left out prospects who are mid-cycle and quietly researching their next vehicle purchase. These people are still slowly educating themselves and looking for information to substantiate the decision they will have to make in the near future. Having a good content marketing strategy will be extremely efficient with this crowd, but in my experience, it's very difficult to precipitate their buying decision. If you're looking to put deals on the board this month, you should focus on both extremities first. Now, if you have read my blogs, watched my videos, listened to previous episodes of the podcast, or went through my Automotive Conquest Masterclass, you probably already know that my preferred prospects are non-intenders, or the 91% of the population not in market for a vehicle. They are the easiest target for an immediate increase in your sales. If you haven't seen or listened to these training tools, I suggest you get your hands on these first. I'll make sure to include the links to these on today's show's notes on 30daystosellcars.com. Now, in today's podcast, I am going to focus on the second group, and the reason I feel compelled to discuss how to maximize your results and efforts from prospects who are about to purchase but haven't considered your brand yet is because most dealers we talk to see that group of prospect as an easy, low-hanging fruit. They reason that since these people are just about to purchase a vehicle, they should be much easier to steer into a deal for their dealership. Unfortunately, they're wrong. As a marketing professional helping car dealers sell more vehicles, you would think that the conquest conversation would be an easy one, right? Well, not at all. Although conquest is at the top of the list of priorities of every dealer and automotive marketing team I talk to, it's probably the hardest conversation to have and the one I dread the most. And here's why. Most dealers don't want to hear the truth about conquest, which forces me to tippy-toe around the truth not to ruffle some feathers. But today, I decided to come out completely unrestrained with the ugly truth nobody wants to hear and say it without beating around the bush. But I have to admit I'm a little scared. Please suspend your judgment, okay? Just hear me out before throwing tomatoes at me. Here's the ugly truth about conquests. If you want to be successful at selling cars to people ready to buy a vehicle from another make, you have to acknowledge that the true conquest vehicle shopper at the end of the shopping cycle doesn't care about the brand and the models you sell. Ouch. I know it hurts a little bit, but you know what? It's the truth. Conquest vehicle shoppers just don't care about the vehicles you sell. If they did, they would already be in your marketing pipeline. Now, this truth has nothing to do with the quality of your vehicles, your service, the reputation of your dealership in the area, or how involved you and your team are in the community. Actually, it has nothing to do with you, your dealership, or your product. You just simply didn't make it on the prospect's radar because the prospect was blind and deaf to your brand. Maybe the prospect's family has been biased to a competing manufacturer for generations. Maybe the prospect is prejudiced against your brand because of some hearsay or somebody else's bad experience. Maybe they zoomed in on a segment of vehicles for which your brand doesn't have a model. Maybe they're following the advice of a third-party automotive journalist who favors a particular model outside of your roster. The reasons are plenty, and with prospects heavily researching their next purchase online, we have less and less of a say as to where the cards ultimately fall in their minds. If prospects are honing in on a particular make and model, your chance of making them deviate from that decision at the last minute in favor of your dealership by heavily advertising your manufacturer's incentives for a few days are close to none. So what's the secret to Conquest success with prospects who are just about to purchase a vehicle? Well, follow Robert Collier's advice. Always enter the conversation already taking place in the customer's mind. Well, what does that mean, you might ask? Well, let's start with what it doesn't mean. If prospects are not thinking about your brand, then talking about your incentives and your models is not entering the conversation currently taking place in their mind. Does this mean that you should talk about your competitors' brand and models? I don't believe so. So what is the conversation going on in the prospect's mind during the last days before buying the vehicle they've been researching? I believe the conversation in their mind revolves around the same 5 questions that are keeping non-intenders out of the market, which are price, payment, cash, credit, and trade, but with a focus on the specific model they want to buy or lease. The conversation in their mind might go something like this. Is this the best time to get the best price on the year, make, model I want? Or, will the payment on the year, make, model I want fit in my budget? Do I have all the cash required for me to get the year, make, model I want? Will I get approved for credit for the year, make, model I want? Or finally, will I get enough for my trade? If you notice, the first 4 statements are all about the year, make, model they want. And that's not a model you sell, so there's little you can do about answering these questions. You could say that you have a lower price, smaller payments, no cash down required, and easy approval on your models, but they don't care about your models, remember? I know it hurts, and it's still hard to admit, right? But focus on the final statement, the 5th one. Will I get enough for my trade? This question, part of the conversation currently in the prospect's mind, leaves the door right open for your dealership to provide an answer. You could say something like this to the prospect. I don't care if you decide to buy your vehicle from another dealer. We have a thriving used car operation here and the technology to maximize how much you would get for your trade. I want to buy the vehicle you're driving now, even if you don't buy your next vehicle from us. If you can create some exciting marketing and communicate this message with class, truly respecting the decision the prospect made about his next purchase, you will start talking to people you would have never talked to before. All you'll have to do at this point is to create within your dealership a process where you can handle these requests while creating for the prospect a memorable experience. Your goal will be to provide such an amazing experience for the prospect that your team will earn the privilege of showing the model from your roster, which competes with whatever the prospect originally had in mind. And now you're conquesting. Now, just to make sure we're on the same page, the 5-foot-long trade appraisal form that usually comes by default with no copy and headline on most dealers' website would not fall under the quote-unquote exciting marketing label I was mentioning before. If you would like to see an example of some exciting ways I found to enter the conversation already taking place in the prospect's mind to help you position your dealership as the trade appraisal center for all vehicle shoppers in your area, visit the campaign section of my company's website. I guarantee it will get your automotive marketing creative juices going. You can find the link to my campaign library in today's show's notes on 30daystosellcars.com. Well, it was a pleasure again to have you over. I hope you liked this episode and that you will be back for more. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify so you don't miss the next tactics I want to share with you so you can sell more vehicle each month. Make sure to leave me some comments. Remember, I'm making this show for you, and without your input, it's really hard to make it better. In the next episode, I want to talk to you about video personalization and how you can use dynamically personalized videos to increase the sales and profits of your new and pre-owned department. I really hope I can catch you on the next podcast. Until then, I wish you a great week. Remember that we only have 30 days to sell cars when the month starts, and we probably have much less than that if you look at your calendar right now. So like I love to say, let's sell some cars. And if there's anything I can do to help you enjoy your absolute best year ever in the car business, make sure to reach out. There's nothing I would enjoy more than to be part of your success. See you next time.